Hello and welcome back to the Counter Core, where we got a supply drop. Today we're going to unbox Revolution Games Kernstown. It is the fourth game in their Civil War series, developed by Claude Whalen. So the game, when I got it, didn't come shrink wrapped, which I think is kind of cool. It always seems like a bit of a waste to shrink wrap the games, but what do I know? This battle box has two battles in it, actually. It has first Kernstown, which was fought on March 23rd, 1862, and it has second Kernstown, which was fought on July 24th, 1864. Pretty much on the same battlefield, which makes it easy to have both battles in this game. This is actually kind of right up the road from me, so I thought it was appropriate for me to get this and try it out. So as you can see, here's a little history of the Kernstown battles. So with first Kernstown, this was Stonewall Jackson's first real major fight of the war, and he, as it says, erred in taking scouting reports at face value, and so he's unknowingly attacked a superior Union force, with Union Commander James Shields laying wounded back in Winchester. Colonel Nathaniel Kimball ignored Shields' orders and managed and mismanaged the battle his way. Though Jackson's men ran out of ammunition and fled the field, Stonewall's only tactical loss became a strategic victory, as Union commanders overestimated the size of Jackson's force. The Union forces could have crushed Jackson, stopped his Valley campaign before it really got started, and perhaps allowed McClellan to end the war in 1862. So yeah, this was one of the great missed opportunities in the early war, and it set off Stonewall's Valley campaign, which went up and down this valley and has been studied ever since. But just as interestingly is the second battle of Kernstown and the second Shenandoah campaign in 1864, when Union Commander George Crook ignored his scouting reports, he's sensing a theme here, and ordered his forces to attack what he thought was a small body of Confederate cavalry and skirmishers. Generals Jubal Early, and you see Early is printed on the side of the box, which is kind of cool. Old Jube, and especially General John Breckinridge, led their forces well and routed Crook's men. Only the failure of the Confederate cavalry to cut the Union retreat routes prevented the annihilation of Crook's army. Better Union leadership and troop placement could have made this battle much harder for the Confederates to win. So this game, though, is a simulation of both those battles, and it's specifically designed to be a playable regimental scale simulation of these two conflicts. And like I said, it's the fourth ACW game published by Revolution Games, and it features the Blind Swords chip pool system. It's a mechanic that emphasizes the three fog of wars of military conflict: fog of war, friction of war, and fortunes of war. So I haven't tried any of Revolution Games' Blind Swords chip pool system games, but from what I read, it sounds pretty cool, and more importantly, it sounds doable for one player to try out. So we'll see how it goes, though. And you see an overview of the counters and the map. And this is another thing that sold me on this game. We'll pull it out in a second, but the map artwork is it's pretty beautiful. I mean, I don't use that word loosely. So often in these war games, you get maps that are kind of just bland and one-dimensional. So it's really cool to see this map with some really good, looks like hand-drawn artwork by Rick Barber. So props to Rick Barber. He's produced a really fantastic looking map, which is almost worth the price of admission to this game. So let's pop this box open and see what's inside. Right away, when you open the box, you're met with a very cool, almost like a poster It's a reprint of the box's cover, but it's still pretty cool. It looks like a colored pencil drawing almost of Battle of Kernstown. And it serves a double purpose. Has the turn record track at the top, and a victory point track and a broken track. And now it looks like we have some player aids. So first player aid is a unique event descriptions. And this looks like they're chits that are pulled, part of the chit pool system. So I'm curious to see how they wind up affecting the game. And on the back is the Kernstown player aid with a nice sequence of play and some tables to help remind you as you play, terrain effects chart, the fog of war chart, and then the Confederate player aid, which has the Confederate chits in unique event descriptions. And the Kernstown player aid on the back is the same on the Confederate player aid. And now a couple more player aids, it looks like. Cohesion test tables with a nice little handy key to help you remember what all the abbreviations mean. A terrain key. And the good old actuary table that is the combat results table, which I like this. It gives you little arrows on which way to go with each modifier, which way to shift the columns. A nice reminder of weapon ranges, because as you'll see, each counter has a different kind of weapon, which has different statistics. And again, same player aid, combat results table. And now the rulebook, printed on a matte paper, it looks like. Not very glossy, which is nice. However, it is all black and white, and it is kind of a Word document like, but that's okay. We don't require much here. We just like some well-written rules. So a little overview of the blind sword system. And it comes in at 19 pages, which is not bad at all, really. Say nothing of it, we are in for it. Stonewall Jackson, after learning the true size of the Union forces. So, an explanation of the counters, an explanation of the terrain, unit stacking, sequence of play, and it looks like you alternate pulling chits. This is again kind of like a bolt action sort of scenario. If you've ever played bolt action on like a tabletop miniatures where you're pulling dice. Some people like that system, some people don't. I don't know how it's going to work for a board game, but I'm willing to give it a try. An explanation of the combat table modifiers, movement, column march, cavalry mounting and dismounting, reinforcements, close combat, CRT column shifts, various cohesion test results. I like this. A good panic example, or well, just an example of play in a separate box. Morale, a close combat and cohesion test example, which is nice. There is skirmish order in the game. I think I remember that you can't put units in the skirmish. They come into this scenario in skirmish, and you can take them out of skirmish though. And then end turn, and some nice designer's notes. I'm looking forward to reading that. Second Kernstown was historically very one-sided, and the design team feels that the historical result was an outlier. CSA just got lucky to win that big. Well, watch what happens when I command the Union Army. You'll see that losing that badly is quite possible. And here are the scenarios. We have a short scenario, it looks like, around the stone wall on Sandy Ridge. That's 11 turns long. And the full historical scenario for the first Battle of Kernstown, which is 18 turns long and uses the whole map. And then a what-if scenario for the first battle. So no low ammunition for the Confederate player. That's kind of cool. And then we go to the second Battle of Kernstown with Breckinridge's attack, which is 9 turns long. We order a battle for everybody. And the second Kernstown, the second Kernstown scenario, 16 turns long. And then another what-if scenario. And as you can see, Leia has found the 2 dice that the game comes with. They are kind of small. Don't know if you can really get a good perception of that on the video, but they are kind of small. I'll probably use different die. I like big die, and I cannot lie. And now what we've all been waiting for, the counters. I really like the counters. They're nice and big, and everything printed on them is very clear. And it looks like each regiment has its state printed on it, which is cool. Choose artillery, Virginia Horse Artillery. Ashby still alive. What's it? 7th Virginia Cavalry. And the 33rd Virginia, which is, of course, the county that I'm living in now, Page County. That's where they sent all their boys off to. So this sheet is the first Battle of Kernstown's counters. And then the second counter sheet is the second battles. So we have Early and Breckenridge, of course, and Rhodes and Ramseur. Over here we have Crook, Averill, I guess I should have pointed out we have Jackson over here and Ashby. It's cool. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. The counters have pictures, photographs I should say, of all the generals. So you see Garnett, and there's Ashby. I hope that's not his death picture. After he died, they took a picture of him as if he was alive still. You should look it up if you haven't seen that. And there's Jackson. Over on the Union side, we have Kimball. Shields doesn't even get a counter, but he would take all the credit. And then here are the other chits. I guess you will be pulling. Now the map. So I'll put this out on the table, and then I'll bring you back when it's all laid out. So here's the map. It's 22 inches by 34 inches, which is a nice decent size. And it has all the historic sites. Here's the Valley Pike. And of course the town of Kernstown. And then here's the stone wall that Ashby's cavalry would retreat behind. And the Valley Pike continues up to the milepost and the Hillman toll gate. And here's the direction from which the, at least in the first Battle of Kernstown, the Union would be marching down. And then here's Pritchard's Hill with the Pritchard Farm. Well, to the west is Sandy Ridge with the famous stone wall on Sandy Ridge. And here's the Massey Farm and the Middle Road, which goes and intersects the Valley Pike. Off to the east we have Buffalo Lick Run and the old Front Royal Road that goes out to Front Royal. And we have Vogue Run. And Occoquan Church. And Barton's Woods. So like I said, it has all the highlights and landmarks that you would want to see in a Kernstown map. And I guess the short scenario for the first Battle of Kernstown takes place over here on Sandy Ridge. Now, one thing besides the art that I really like about this map are these little numbers here. So these white numbers, these numbers in white circles tell you the elevation of a given hex. So elevation obviously plays a very important part in the Battle of Kernstown because you have Sandy Ridge, which is higher than the plain that surrounds it, and then Pritchard's Hill, which of course is very important. The Union would set up batteries on top of Pritchard's Hill, and that would give them a commanding line of fire towards Barton's Woods. But for this game, it seems like there's a line of sight mechanic that takes into account the change in elevation. And so you see different gradations. It's like a topographical map, right? So the yellowish hexes are the highest points on the map, and they're represented by this number 13. I believe 13 is the highest. While the lowest parts of the map, such as over here at Buffalo Lick, are dark green, and they're represented by like the 2. And then the hexes, as you get higher, the white numbers go up. So you can see there's a 4. This little knoll is a 5, surrounded by 4 colored hexes. And like, for example, if we go back to Sandy Ridge, the ridge itself is a 13, and then on either side there are 11s. So it's going, you can see which way it's going down, and there's no question, oh, what color is this? Is this a light green or is this a lighter green? But no, you can just look up here. Oh, it's an 8, and this green is a 7. So anyway, I don't know that I'm doing it justice by explaining how awesome and convenient that is. And I think it's built into the map quite well that it doesn't distract from the art of the map. But it's such a good little addition that I think will save so much time playing, especially for me by myself, where I can't have somebody ask like, oh, is this, what contour is this part of? So I can just be like, oh, this is an 8 and this is a 7. There's a line of sight there. Which again, it's pretty down in the weeds, and it's a little thing, but little things like that, the wonderful drawing of the map and some of the things that I've read about the chip pool system all make me very excited to play this game. And I think I hope to get this game onto the table shortly. So if it's something you're interested in, stay tuned, keep an eye out, and I'll probably be doing the first battle of Kernstown. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed unboxing Kernstown from Revolution Games. Check them out on their website. I'll leave a link to their website on the description. And thanks for watching. Take care.